Yes, we know that the franchise is all about zombies and their survivors, but we can't just forget about the highly eventful lives of those trying to get through the crisis. In times of desperation, one's life doesn't always take a side in these shows. The Walking Dead had never lacked diversity, which is why we're all shocked when they canceled the first gay character's big reveal, so let's find out what happened. First up, whose gay reveal are we missing out on? After the great finale of the series in 2019, Kirkman and colorist McCaig revealed it beautifully with a full-color deluxe reprint, and they plan to go all crazy with the ideas. Staying true to that, the screenwriter wanted to reveal one of the characters as the series' first prominent gay survivor, and it was supposed to be none other than the former Lieutenant Martinez. We know that his involvement in the series has been pretty limited so far, considering how he simply assisted Rick, Glenn, and Michonne as they escaped from Woodbury. That being said, his character did leave the comics with one of the most iconic and memorable deaths in the entire series. We aren't exaggerating because Rick literally ran over him with an RV, after which he strangled him to death when he tried returning to town. He was probably on the way to let the governor know of the group's jail setup, or at least bring back some more survivors, which is what makes his death even sadder. When Kirkman remembered that this was how he had planned Caesar's death, he decided that it maybe wasn't the greatest thing to do with his first prominent homosexual character. Eventually, he scrapped the big sexuality reveal, and now we'll never see how that would have turned out. Regardless, if you're looking for diversity and inclusivity, we're sure you'll get enough of that later on in the show, considering how the series isn't behind on the involvement of gay characters. Coming up, what about the other openly gay characters? Aaron was an accomplished recruiter for the Alexandria Safe Zone, and was also the first openly gay figure introduced in comic books. He first appeared in the series' 67th issue, which was released in 2009, just one issue before the appearance of his dead boyfriend Eric, who served as a recruit alongside him. The character formally brings Rick along with his group to their permanent home in Alexandria after a rough series of introductions. About 2 years after this, the comics introduced yet another prominent LGBTQ character named Paul Jesus Monroe. It didn't take much time for him, who was initially posing as a part of the Hilltop survivor community, to accidentally lead Grimes' gang of survivors into a slew of trouble. Both Aaron and Paul eventually end up together, and we know you'd all agree how good they are as a couple. Finally, was this a good decision? The presentation of the first major out-of-the-closet gay character would have ended up pretty badly if he eventually got beaten up by Rick a couple of issues later, and it would have generally lost the momentum Kirkman had intended with the reveal. Martinez was already well known among the readers as part of the governor's top enforcers posted on the community wall. Before him, jail inmates Andrew and Dexter were widely hinted to be romantically related, but the relationship was never brought to light, and they were felons, putting Grimes's and the group's lives in peril. So basically, he was right under the spotlight. Future gay characters like Monroe are not only capable of dealing with things themselves, but can also be Rick's confidants and good friends as the rest of the series continue, and it would just reflect the show's values better instead of going for a character who is already too weak. All of that aside, it's absolutely beautiful that two of the show's most beloved and persistent gay characters, Aaron and Paul, would finish up the series as lovers. In a world full of sorrow and misery, it's heartening seeing some surviving members of the bleak show getting a happy ending. Now moving on to the mysteries of the finale. To start with, what were the Commonwealth's alliances? Lance Hornsby ignited a flurry of suspicion when he attempted to scare the main characters by mentioning, quote, certain connections that the Commonwealth supposedly had in the show's universe. His death, he claimed, will spark a fight with these allies, whoever they may be. When he made this remark, it was widely thought that the identities of the Commonwealth's hidden friends would be revealed before the end of the series, but this never happened. The main opinion as to who he was referring to is that the Commonwealth and the CRM were working together. We know that the series had its finale and that we should probably move on from it, but there is still an opportunity for the showmakers to investigate Lance's foreboding message. There are no confirmed appearances of the Commonwealth on the radar, but a CRM connection may be crucial to the plot of Rick and Michonne's spin-off. Indeed, it could be how the pair eventually returns to their friends and family following the spin-off. Moving on, do we get to know more about the initial outbreak? When the show first premiered on Halloween in 2010, we met Rick Grimes, who awakened from a coma out of nowhere in a hospital, having absolutely no idea about the zombie apocalypse that was raging around him. Because of this, he had big gaps in his awareness of what had happened, since he was compelled to respond quickly and think fast as a survival instinct. The fast-paced terror of the premiere episode took a backseat to years of half-baked interactions in a large cast of characters, giving little time to investigate what caused the world to transform the way it did. We know very little about the characters, their histories, and why they are the way they are, and a show starts to lose its meaning when the basic storytelling is so weak. Still, we think that they have been trying to give us the context we need. There have been quite a few suggestions as to what triggered the outbreak, and a future episode on the spin-off Tales of the Walking Dead indicates that scientists finally uncovered that the virus was produced in a French laboratory. Similar to this, we've also seen glimpses of the infestation's disastrous early days in the neglected world beyond, where numerous youngsters endured some of their first recollections of having lost their families to the sudden invasion of the undead. But it wasn't enough. We want to know how everything really happened, but the franchise addressing these questions seems like a long shot. Following up with, where's Grimes? Rick's final scene in the 9th season was spectacular. Even though he was hallucinating and on the brink of death, he managed to divert a swarm of zombies away from his family and friends while riding a loyal steed, which was pretty impressive when we looked at it. As soon as an explosion killed many walkers, it seemed like he had died because he was nowhere to be seen afterward. This is where Jadis enters, who was the Scavenger's commander and whom we see in the 7th season. Her time with the band revealed her to be an intriguing and perplexing figure, and she eventually left to serve the militaristic CRM. When we see her again in the spin-off, she makes veiled remarks about knowing more about Grimes' location than anybody else. She used a chopper to rescue him, and we thought that he was transferred to a hospital, which is when we lost contact with him. At this point, the series took a time jump, propelling Michonne 6 years ahead of time when she was writing journal entries to her deceased husband. But in the 10th season, she discovered his boots and an ancient iPhone that had her and Judith's faces etched onto its side, and she finally knew that Rick was most likely still alive, prompting her to set out on a journey to find him. In the final episode, it became more possible than ever, but we'll eventually learn exactly what he had been up to, but right now, it remains a mystery. Finally, is Heath dead? This character appeared in an episode from the 7th season years ago, and we still don't know where he is. Clues have been revealed now and then, but no one knows if he's alive or dead. It's no secret that he was kidnapped by the CRM at this time, and his van wasn't only seen at Jadis' home, but showrunner Kang also confirmed the link. If Hawkins doesn't return to play his role of Heath, he will probably appear in one of the 3 spin-offs. That's not difficult to conceive, especially given that the CRM would be vital to Rick and Michonne's storyline, and may also play a role in Daryl Dixon's plot. In any case, it's possible that, like Grimes, the character was kept alive as one of CRM's employees. On the other hand, they could also discover that Heath was killed in an attempted escape, or was one of the countless test subjects who died as a result of the CRM's zombie virus trials. And that's a wrap, folks. Do you have any unanswered questions from the season finale in your head? Please tell us in the comments below, and as always, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to our channel so you never have to miss out on any more updates about your shows. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.